Hi everyone, on this video I am playing a PS4 game called Pure Chess, and I'm playing against the hardest possible opponent you can have, and that is the Grandmaster. In this game, the Grandmaster is rated at 1,000, as you can see right there, and yeah, they're very, very tough to play against, and usually I get clobbered, but in this game I figured out a way to win. And I'm going to walk through this game I just played and try to explain what my thought process was going forward. Initially, I think I had a couple concepts in mind to try to beat them. If you watch some other videos, you notice I like to attack a lot, sometimes sacrifice, but I like to see if I can put pressure once I figure out which way black is going to go as far as castling. So if black castles this side, I like to bring pressure from here. If black castles to this side, I like to see if I can bring pressure to there. Can't always work it out that way, but I like to try to do that if I can. A more important part to starting off is to be able to bring pressure. You need to be able to develop these pieces right here. So I'll go through the first number of moves fairly quickly, and just basically we're developing pieces. First move, simple enough. Okay. And you also want to be able to defend against any weird stuff that your opponent does. Again, developing here. Now I decided to actually move my knight forward to the spot, and the reason being is they can't bring any pawns forward. Computer brings knight right here. I decided to continue with the developing theme, moving the bishop there. Okay, fair enough. Computer develops. Okay, I develop more. They develop, and just like I said, develop. Okay, that's an interesting move, moving the queen this way. What that signals to me is that the computer, or the Grandmaster level, is looking to castle on this side, which is kind of good for me. Because I know that I can set up an attack through here and then try to use some combination of these pieces going forward, or at least that's what my thought process is at the moment. Now, how exactly to do that, it's going to depend on a number of factors and so forth. So I decide to signal that I am going to attack, so I move the queen here. The other reason I move the queen here, if you'll see this piece right here, this piece was blocking or protecting the knight. Them moving the queen there actually represents a threat, so I could either move this piece forward or protect it with the queen from this spot or this spot. I decided to put there, and maybe I can put pressure later, assuming they're going to castle this side. Fair enough. Okay, that's this move. I had to think about this one for a while. It's a little bit tricky. I could move my bishop back there. Bishop is defending. This pawn is also defending the knight. What I elected to do is take this knight right here, figuring that they'll have to either capture with this piece, or this piece, because if they don't, I can take the queen. So I captured a knight right there, and yeah, just trade off material. Now I move my bishop back. Okay, that's an interesting move. I'm just going to move the pawn forward there where I can back the bishop up, and I still have this. The nice thing about this bishop is I have this line blocked off here, and I'm going to need that to generate pressure on this side. Now, the Grandmaster hasn't castled yet, but they could, theoretically cancel this side. I don't see them doing that because I think this side has more defense at the moment, where they brought their pawns forward. So I don't see that happening. And that if they did, there's a lot of different ways I could attack this pawn structure too. Okay, so I just move the pawn forward, and they castle. Good. Now I'm going to castle. Okay. Now that they've castled and I've castled, my theme or my concept here is to attack this, and there's a number of different ways you can play out. but I want to bring as much pressure as I can. You'll notice most of about half of their pieces are, let's see, 1, 2, 3 major pieces, 1, 2, 3 major. Half of their pieces are on this side, right here. Half of their pieces are on this side. If I can, I've got this piece attacking this side. This kind of, sort of, this piece does. These pieces do. If I can bring the castle this way, if I can bring more pressure than they can defend, that would be good for me. And, you know, I could potentially hit a checkmate. Against an opponent this tough, it's probably not going to happen. But I could also potentially get like a pass pawn or something, or, you know, win material and so forth. So that's my thought process here. Okay, they develop a rook, and I decide to attack, and by simply pushing the pawn forward and taking away the spots that the queen has, they move, you know, a nice little defensive move where the queen can go, so forth, and then these pieces are all protected. So I push my pawn forward, going with the attacking theme. Okay, that move threatens the bishop. I'm just going to put the bishop back here. It's still protected. Okay, they decide to put the bishop there. That doesn't really do a lot of damage. This piece right here, you know, is protected by a pawn, and I don't see them wanting to trade bishop for pawn, and I don't see any value of them taking out that structure there. So I go forward with my attack. I decide to move this pawn forward here, figuring they might capture with one of those pieces. They don't. Instead, an interesting move, I like to put pressure on my knight. What I decided to do is just take this piece right here with a pawn, where I could possibly break up some of the structures and even sacrifice my knight there, and, you know, hopefully come up with something pressure-wise where I might be able to get a checkmate, which is probably a little too ambitious against this opponent, but whatever. I'm aggressive, and I like to take chances. Okay, fair enough. They recapture that. This piece is still in jeopardy, so I'm just going to move the queen forward there to defend, to put at least one defender on here. And my plan is to move the rook to that spot and then put pressure and see if I can do something there. That move with the knight, I'm not sure exactly what that does develop, but again, I'm going to go with my plan here. Attack, move the rook forward. Okay, Cooter sees a line of attack. They move their king right there because they don't want to get into possible checkmate scenarios with the pressure I have. And then I decided to start putting pressure here, so I bring the queen forward. Check. And they move their king back. They still have, you know, quite a few pieces to block here. Now, what I elected to do is, if you look at this board closely, and you can hit pause if you'd like, this spot right here, I would say, was the key move that won me the game. I didn't really play great tactically afterwards. I played okay, good enough to win, good enough to grind it out. But this spot right here is where, pretty much where I get my W, or where I get my material advantage. And if you look really closely, assuming you hit pause, you see the bishop can go right here and set up a fork between the rook and the queen. And that's what I liked it to do. And in this case, they had a really bad spot. They had a really bad spot for the queen. The queen can't go here, can't go here, can't go here, can't go here. So the only logical move for the computer to do, even on Grandmaster level, is to capture this bishop right here and trade bishop for queen. And yeah, and I had to look at this 2 or 3 times to make sure I wasn't getting trapped. Because a lot of times when you play against a higher level opponent on a game, higher level opponent like that, one of the main things you're going to find out right away is when they offer you a piece that big, straight up, there's usually a trap involved, and you're kind of screwed. You got to look at it 2 or 3 times. You're like, why are they offering me this piece? You know, they're not just offering it because they're dumb or whatever. They're doing it for a reason, and it's not a good reason. So yeah, I had to look at that one a couple times. So fair enough, I take the queen. They move their knight into blocking position, which, okay, whatever. I decide to start taking material there. There's an interesting move. I'm just going to recapture with that, or capture with a trade pawn for pawn there. Now, my next theme or goal here is just take advantage of my material advantage. And I've got, you know, this piece, this piece, this piece, this piece, and this piece. And what I'm trying to do is just push this pawn forward and either get something in exchange, you know, like maybe get a rook or get a queen, you know, try to push my material advantage and just basically grind out the game. Okay, simple enough move. I'm going to try to trade off there. They elect not to trade off. I move back, and then I elect to go back again, you know, kind of pinning this piece back here against the king. They elect to attack. Okay, I take that piece, check, and I'm not trading queen for rook, but I am going to grind down into here, get another check, and yeah, the rest of this game is pretty much simply, it's just, I'm going to grind down. I think this game ended up being like 115 moves. Nothing really spectacular after that one move I showed you. It's just a matter of, you know, grinding them down, or grinding the computer down, and not letting, you know, not screwing up at any point, where you lose the game or you're going to win because of material. You know, I do like the fast games too, where you can get the checkmate. This game's a little more open. It's going to take me a little while to go through here. We get about a few more moves. I'm simply going to take his pawn forward, turn it into a queen, and then, you know, go for the checkmate. So, yeah. So there we go. I'm working my position forward there. There's a check. And as you can see, this develops into a mating pattern. So very exciting for me. This is the first time I've beaten the Grandmaster on this game. I haven't really played against Grandmaster. Usually I play against like 800 or 900, sometimes 700 level. So occasionally, you know, below. Because I actually like to walk away with a win once or twice if I play a decent game. It's really hard to beat the toughest level in there. You got to be very good at attacking, as I mentioned earlier, with a different line of attack here. And as you can see, we're just working the queen. I think it's, yep, this will be the last move right there. Yeah, so hopefully that line of attack in the middle game helped you out. The end game and stuff isn't... There's not a lot in there, so hopefully the stuff I went over in the line of attack on the beginning of the game, and, you know, overloading, looking, you know, sacrificing, trying to get position, stuff like that, looking for different lines of attack. Hopefully that helps out, because that was really a key to winning this game. And yeah, chess is a tricky game, and I was really happy to get the win here. Hopefully this video helped you out a little bit in thinking in terms of attack and stuff like that. Thanks for watching, and good luck.